In my first video on spiraling up and down from the floor or from a lower surface, you learned a lot about different elements of getting up and down from the floor, or say a low sofa. But now I would like to help you with a couple of ways of getting up and out of a chair. Now you think to yourself, why am I watching this channel? I'm young, I can get up and out of a chair. That's probably true. And then there'll also be people here watching that can't get in and out of a chair. But really, you can improve any function, and if you improve getting up and out of a chair in a couple different ways, it will carry over into your life. Like one of the ways I'm going to show you could carry over into jumping better. So you might be surprised at how valuable it is to explore in this more slow, methodical way that we do in somatic education. So if we just carry off of what we were doing already with spiraling up and down, if you didn't see that video, you want to go back and get that video, and you could also download the PDF that gives you some hints, things you can follow and make notes on for yourself in the description, by the way. And also follow us, whichever that is, follow us, so that we can be sure to keep you in the loop for getting this whole entire series. So we did this spiraling down on a chair, on a lower surface, but we can also do it for a chair. So again, I would stand at about a 45-degree angle to the chair, 1 foot forward, the one that's closest to the chair. I'm going to fold and sink everything down, put a hand down, and then spiral my butt to land on the chair. Pretty simple. Now, if you found that your turning radius is really tight and you tried on a stool or the floor or maybe even here in the chair, I might be able to help you with that too. Now to come up, I'm going to just scoop my butt a little bit off to the side and then come out this way. Now you might think, where would I ever use this? If you're somebody that has to lean on a table to get up, but the table is going to fall over, this could be a really handy way to help you get out of a booth or a chair, even partially out of a car. There's a kind of part of it that you can use with the spiral towards the back door to help you as also getting out of a car. If you feel like you're just heavy on your feet, you could put your hands on the chair, just come up on the balls of your feet and just twist. Just twist. And then you could come into a step position and do the same thing. Learn to get lighter on the balls of your feet so that the heels can raise and you can twist on the heels around the balls, and that will help to make your rear end a little bit lighter as well. So that's how you might spiral up and down from a chair. Well, let's take a look at how to come up in a more frontal sitting way. So if you're somebody who has any concerns about balance or losing control when you go to sit down, you want to always back yourself up until you feel your legs against the back of the chair, and then go ahead and come down to sit. And it's a good idea if you try to come down to sit and stand a couple times here just in your normal way, pause the video, your normal way, and kind of give yourself an idea of how difficult is it, how hard is it right now. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, you could rate yourself 10 is super hard and 1 is super easy, and maybe you're somewhere in between there. Now, I am already pretty close to the back of the chair, and a lot of you, when you went to get up, you went to get up from the back of the chair. And that's one way to do it, but it's harder at the back of the chair than at the front of the chair. So you could bring yourself to be more at the front of the chair, and then do your normal way of standing up right there and see, oh, that's a little easier. Already for me, a little easier. Now, you can see here that I'm not wanting to scoot forward. I'm wanting instead to walk my buttocks and knees forward or backwards. And the reason that I want to do that is because the scooting forward, a lot of people actually tweak their low back. So some of you will recognize that and go, that's me. Yep, I tweak my low back. Definitely do that. And then also, if you have mobility problems of any kind, learning to lighten one buttock and slide it forward or back is part of your walking gait cycle. It's part of the ability to pick up one leg or the other. So this can be a super handy thing right here to practice. If you find that your rear end is really heavy, you're like, man, I can hardly move it. There's a couple things that you might notice or try. One is you might be in a very soft surface, and that will make it more difficult. So I've got a very firm chair here that doesn't roll. I don't have to worry about it going anywhere. If I was concerned about it going somewhere, maybe I just tend to land on my chairs when I sit down like that, then I would want to put my chair against the wall so I have no doubt that my chair is not going to go anywhere. You could put but anyway, if you feel that your bottom is heavy, you could put an actual trash bag, something slick, or a sheet, something that doesn't have much friction to it, and it'll make it a little bit easier for you. You can also use your hands on the side of the chair, and your hands on the side of the chair, you can push with one hand and then the other, and you'll start to notice that, oh yeah, one buttock comes up, and then you could slide that buttock back or forward and set it down. Push with the other hand, back or forward and set it down. Let me show you what that looks like from a frontal view. Again, I can use the hands on the side of the chair, lighten, slide one, and then the other. Forward, and then the other. I like this use of the hands because without it, a lot of you will do this to lighten a buttock. You'll lean way over, and then this and way over. And we really want to get this rib change in the walking of it forward, where one side of the ribs gets shorter and the other side gets long, because that again is part of standing upright and walking down the street. You want to be able to come up and balance over one sitting bone, one leg, and then balance over the other sitting bone, leg, foot. And to do that, you can't be swaying way over. You miss your base of support. So even a small amount of sway left and right can really wear on your knees, your hips over time. So we want to get this, instead, this beautiful carriage of the spine from one side to the other. Long on one side, a little short, compressed on the other side, and then back and forth. And when you get long on one side, that buttocks lifts, that buttocks lifts. Okay? So that's a kind of precursor that we're going to use for going forward and back in the chair. Okay, so let's start at the front of the chair. And we've already done the experiment, standing up at the back of the chair, standing up at the front of the chair. Usually, for most people, much easier at the front of the chair. Now, we also can start to think about the length of our spine from the tailbone or pubic bone to the top of the head, and where our hip joints are. So all the length forward and back, and then where our hip joints are. And we want to begin to play with our fingers kind of in the groin line, because that's where our hip joints are. They're not out here. And we want to begin to tilt the length of our spine a little forward and a little back, so we can begin to feel, oh yeah, that is my big hip hinge joint. We do not want to hinge at the waist in the back. That's not a hinge joint. Here in your pelvis, it's the hips that are the hinge joint. So sometimes in the Feldenkrais method, we use this image of like a stick with a little bird head on it that will come over and peck water. So as if your spine was a stick and you were going to peck water down there somewhere. Right? And you can begin to feel that as you come forward, your weight starts to really come into your feet. Oh yeah, for sure. Right around there, my weight is really in my feet. So that makes me stop and think, do I have my feet where I would want them to be to come up to stand? So I'm going to play with my feet in some different positions and find out, where do I want my feet to be when I would want to come up and stand? Well, I can't really get my weight into my feet there, so that's not it. Here my heels are more underneath my knees. Okay. And here my heels are a little bit behind my knees. And now I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm getting into a place where it would be easier for me to come up to stand. So you want to take your time playing with where is the best position for your feet in order to be able to feel the base of support underneath you as your weight comes over them. Also, the width between the knees and the feet matters. So some of us sit with our knees together and our feet apart, and some of us sit with our knees way apart and our feet more together, and some of us maybe sit really wide. You know, play a little bit around with the distance or the width between them, but generally we want our knees over our heels on pointing towards our big toe and second toe. We don't want the knees outside or inside. And so now, with that hinge joint in mind, I can begin to play with maybe sliding, nice long spine, sliding my hands over my knees, as if my hands are going to go to the ground. And if I keep going, I might find that my butt just sort of magically comes up into the air. And then I can stand up head first. Now, some of you are thinking, I'm not going to stand up like that in public. You don't have to stand up like that in public. What you'll find is that as you experiment with these ways more, you will be able to do versions of this without having your hands and your head go all the way to the floor. I broke my rule. I didn't sit down with my legs back against the chair there. So I just did that. And now I'm going to walk my rear end closer to the front. So let's take a look at that from a side view in case you need that side view visual. So again, I'm playing with where are my feet in relationship to my knees. I have this long spine. I'm not going to arch my back as I stand up, and I'm not going to round my back as I stand up. Very important. I want to look to see if I can keep from arching my back and rounding my back. Now, if I sit like this all the time, then it could be good to start with a little bit of pelvic rocking so I could begin to find how to be more on top of my sitting bones to begin with. If I'm not really there to begin with, it'll be harder to access my hip joints. Okay, so this is from the side view in case you want to watch before you try. And then maybe after you watch, you'll pause it and see what it's like. Sliding the hands down, long spine. Keep the hands going, butt comes up. Then I can stand all the way up. To sit down, I go back till I feel my legs against the chair. I'm coming in for that very soft landing. The hip joints slide back, 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 back. And I come down very softly and not with a big bang, which is not good for our tailbone, not good for our spine. Yeah. Again, can walk forward till I'm at the front of the chair where my thighs, I don't feel like I'm going to fall off, but my thighs are mostly free from it. So let's try another hint this time. So nice, tall, long, thinking about those hip joints And it's really interesting, as some people come up to stand, they always scoot their bottom forward in space. And that's actually pretty hard. That's pretty hard. So we want not to do that. Maybe you recognize that in yourself. We want not to do that. We're not going to scoot our bottom forward in space. We're actually going to scoot our bottom back, or at least our ball in the socket of our hip joints back. So as we are coming forward and the hands are coming forward, the ball in the socket is sliding back. The hip joints are sliding back, so that there's this kind of quality of the rear end sort of sweeping back and up as opposed to forward and up. It really changes the weight distribution in your feet significantly. So let's try that again. Again, you remind yourself where your hip joints are. There's a ball sitting in a socket there. Nice, tall, long spine. Find your neutrality there on your pelvis. Your hands can slide downward. The hip joints are going to slide back. There's a certain moment when your weight is on your feet where it actually feels like the floor or the ground reaction force helps to lift you up. That's what you're looking for, so that you're not fighting the ground reaction force, but that you're using it. You're using it. To go down, hip joints back, knees bending, spine is still long. Come in for that nice soft landing. Walk back towards the front. And let's look at that issue of maybe arching the back as you come up or rounding the back. One of these is likely to be something that you do. So as you start to come forward, just come up and arch the back. Oh, and I even had to arch my neck to go with that. That was heavy. I got to tell you, that did not feel good. And when I come back to sit, if I do something similar, oh man, my knee does not like that either. No, does not like that either. So let's come back and try that to be more neutral. Tall, long spine. Almost like it's thinking of a stick from the back of my head down to the sacrum, or from the front, from the pubic bone to the forehead. I'm going to keep that back long, long. Aware of where my feet are. Are they in a good place for me? I think they are. Sliding my hands forward, long spine, hip joints sliding back, weight coming into my feet, and it lifts me up. A little close to my plant here, but I want to be sure you see my feet. Okay. Backing up towards the chair. Again, can I have that long spine? Oh, I think I'm started to arch. Okay. Long spine, hands dragging down, hip joints going back, knees bending down. Let's try the rounding of the spine. So walking myself back forward again. And even though I find this idea of a long spine maybe fairly easily now, I'm gonna see what it's like if I round back. I'm gonna let that go and round back. And now I'm gonna try to come up with a rounded back. Oh, I can't even get my hip joints to go back at all there. It's like they won't go. Oh, that's much more work. Wow, that is a lot more work. Let's see what it's like when I go to sit down with a rounded back. Again, my hip joints don't want to go back very much. My knees will bend, but my hip joints are a little more stodgy about it. That's not ideal. For sure, that is not ideal. Okay, long spine. Breath easy. Yeah, so now we want to pay attention. We should have started paying attention before to breath, because some of us, we're holding our breath every time we stand up or sit down. So let's see if we can breathe easily through the whole thing. So first I'm going to sit and feel what's my normal breath cycle. Okay, then I've got that normal breath cycle. I'm going to see if I can let that continue as I use everything I know to come up to stand. That's nice. That's nice. I could do a lot of them. I could do a lot of them. Instead of being someone who says to myself, I think I'm going to limit how many times I get up and down from a chair, I could do that a lot. And that's also the elements of a good squat, and it's also the elements of a good jump. Now, there would be another way we could do it. And so of course, we've got to have more ways, because maybe there's something going on that for you really need a different way. So we're millions of ways of being human. So we got to have lots of different ways to explore. So again, I got my legs back at the chair. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to walk myself forward. And this time I'm going to put my feet in a step position. So this is an interesting one that really works well for some people. They can slide one foot back, and they might even be more on the ball or the heel. And they can still have the long spine, still paying some attention to the knees not folding way in or way apart. And the long spine and the hands are sliding on the thighs, the eyes and the head just right on this long spine. I can still have these hip joints that slide back, and I can kind of push up with that foot in the rear. And I could be ready to shake a hand. That's nice. So that starts to make it a little bit more normal for the public, right? We don't all want to look weird in the public. So let's try that one. And we're not even going to have such a dramatic fold forward. Now that we have the idea, maybe we can just do the smallest amount of this and be ready to take a step forward, shake somebody's hand, look at somebody, and you really didn't do this complete head down, almost butt up. What you did do was show something extremely elegant, and that other people are going to notice and want to do as well, because people notice elegant movement. They notice elegant movement. They think, wow, that's nice. Something about that is nice. Okay, back down. Let's try the other step position. Walk on my bottom forward. Other step position. Maybe this is the one that works for you. Still the spine is long. You get to push off at a certain point with this ball of the foot. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Works. Now let's see. There was something I didn't mention, and that is, for some people, when they go to stand, they squeeze the buttocks. And if you squeeze your buttocks or glutes too early, it pulls you down. So you can feel that in your chair right here. You can sit and squeeze them. Squeeze. Squeeze them. Squeeze them. It kind of rocks your pelvis back. So we want to avoid this squeezing of the buttocks. The buttocks don't need to be involved until we're almost up to standing, and then they can kind of help push us forward a little bit more. So if we go back to the parallel position, long spine, feeling, oh, yep, there I'm on top of my sitting bones. Got my legs where I think I want them to be. I can change them if I don't like it. I start to go forward and say, well, I don't really like that. I want them something different. I can change them. Okay? And now pay attention to your glutes, your buttocks, and really see if you notice that you squeeze them early. We want to start to let that go so that we can come up, and really only about in this position do the buttocks start to become involved in helping you to open the front of your groin and bring your hips into extension. Okay, so this is another installment in how to get up and down, and this one is up and down from a chair. And we still have more to come. So be sure you subscribe and look for our PDF in the comments and let us know, did you get something out of this? What did it give you? What little piece made a difference for you? By the way, I'm Cynthia Allen, Feldenkrais practitioner and Bones for Life senior trainer.